Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to CRL for Season 12, Round 1 at the Austria Grand Prix. This is Tier 1. My name is Jamie, and alongside me tonight is CRO Rob. How you doing, mate? Nice to have you alongside me for the first time.
Yeah, we've never done comms before. It's good to be back in the comms booth. It's actually been a while. I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. So obviously we've got Season 12, which was introduced very quickly than expected, because I think we tried to get one more season, but obviously with a different format, because I think the two-stop strategy is implemented on this season now. So a two-stop is mandatory around any racetrack we do this season. So that's going to be very interesting. It will spice things up for sure, because the one-stop strategy can be a bit boring sometimes.
Yeah, so the two-stop strategy, obviously a lot of the drivers, some of them weren't aware until actually going into the race that it was two-stop strategy. I know it nearly caught a couple of the drivers out in Tier 2 on Monday night. Unfortunately, obviously there was no stream for Monday due to the lack of commentators, because I myself am no longer free on a Monday, and I know, Jamie, you're also not free on a Monday, but you've got us for the next 12 weeks at least. Me and Indigo, what more could you want?
Yeah, indeed. And hopefully in the next 12 weeks, season 12 can be a bit of a success, because season 11, it went downhill and unfortunately things did not work. So it's not really a season to remember. Unfortunately, the past 10 seasons before that have been absolutely amazing, and fantastic memories were created. Fantastic races were shown as well. We got the RB, the racing bull driver of Diddy, who was in the McLaren or Ferrari, I think, last season in season 11 in Division 2. And I think he did a really good job as well, scoring at multiple podiums. And we'll see what the racing driver could do as we make our way out of the final two corners and 10 corners on this racetrack. It is fast, it is flowing as we head on the main straight there. DRS wide open as Diddy is going to take us for a tour around Austria, heading towards turn 1, clipping the apex nicely, leads on the curb on the outside, use the battery and also DRS on this second straight as we head uphill towards turn 2. Not really the tightest side I've seen, but as we head down towards turn 3, braking at the 100 meter board, very important to slow the car down because you've got a heavy traction zone coming up as we exit turn 3. DRS on the main straight once again as we head downhill towards turn 4. You see a lot of lockups going down towards turn 4. It's quite common around here as well, as it's a heavy braking zone, but no signs are locking up so far for Diddy, as it seems like it's a clean lap so far from the racing bull driver as he heads down towards turn 6 and takes it very nicely indeed. Use the outside curb as we go through turn 7 into 6th gear, carrying the speed, but unfortunately he has invalidated Rob.
Yeah, what's the thing is with Austria, it always creates drama. It always creates good races, plenty of opportunities to overtake. Like you said, it is, if I'm correct, it is the shortest calendar on the clock, capable of going around in 1 minute 5s here. I'm expecting a very quick time from these boys tonight. And you know what I am expecting, Jamie? Maybe a safety car or two.
We do see safety cars come out in Austria before, and it has came out in Division 1 as well. So we could see safety cars on the horizon. We've got Legende in the Haas as he makes his way out of the final few corners. He goes into 5th gear. Let's see with the DRS open. The first lap time is going to be a 104.2, and he sets the benchmark. And let's see if anybody else behind him can improve.
Yeah, so I was watching Legende during that entire run there. Obviously, who was it that was out in front a minute ago? It was the RB. Who was the RB? No, it wasn't the RB. Anyway, the other was far obviously invalidated, did he? He invalidated, but Legende putting out a decent time there. And I'm on board with Den Dave at the moment. I don't know if you're watching him, but the Williams driver just setting the fastest Sector 1. Obviously, it's going to be people setting fastest sectors for the start of qualifying. Obviously, it is only a short qualifying session. We don't do the full quali. I wonder if that'll ever return at CRL, Jamie. Is that something you'd want to see?
It is very interesting. I still do full full qualifying in other leagues, but for the time it starts at 8 and having work the next day, sometimes it can sometimes be a bit too long. So if I didn't have work the next day, then yes, I like to see it return. But it's a bit long sometimes. But I do like to see that sometimes. Maybe it come back, maybe it won't. But we'll see if the drivers agree or not. We've got Dead Dave coming towards the final two corners now as he heads through the final corner where Lawrence Stroll crashed all those years ago. So did Danny Kvyat as Dead Dave goes up into P2 with a 4.148.
Yeah, lovely time there from Dende. Obviously, Bosch Evans, he set provisional pole while we were on board with Dende there with nearly a 1 minute 4 flat, just shy by 44 milliseconds of getting a 1 minute 4. Are we going to see a 1 minute 3, Jamie? I've got a feeling that someone here has got a 1 minute 3 in them. Obviously, as the track gets warmer, the tyres get quicker. 1 minute 3, maybe, possibly, maybe the fabled 1 minute 2.
Oh, 1 minute 2 is a bit of a stretch. Maybe you're thinking back to 2020 all those years ago. But here comes
Oh, what a
Four-Star.
game.
Here comes Four-Star towards the line. He just slots in behind his teammate Hobbsy as Henry, the ILT man, is headed up towards turn 3 now. Not really seen Henry race. I don't really know much about him because obviously I'm not in the ILT servers anymore. Well, I still am, but haven't kept up to date. So let's see how Henry does. He got the experience. ILT Bompierre. Bompierre is still yet to win a race around here in CRL. He's been in CRL for such a long time. He's like Nick Heifeld of the league with so many podiums but no wins. As Henry sweeps down towards turn 6, took the outside curb to have a high advantage going through turn 6 and turn 7. Now let's see how he does. Oh, invalidates there.
That's unlucky from Henry. I've jumped on board with former Tier 2 co-host, and obviously, well, not co-host, the host, and I do believe he is retaking the position in Season 12 for Tier 2. I'm on board with CRL 3-4 at the moment in the Haas and just watching to see how he goes. I believe Scott will be doing comms come next Monday. So Tier 2 comms will be back on your screen very, very soon.
Amazing commentator, amazing person, amazing driver is CRL Freefall. Of course, I missed that period back in what season 6, 7, 8 when me Freefall did commentary, but he had the OBS running, etc. I do miss those seasons. As we head towards the final corner, he goes. Let's see where Freefall could go. He just returned from Cyprus and he goes P9 in the Haas. Did he? Just jumps him as he goes up into P8 in the Racing Bull. As Nathan JB goes quickest with a 3.8 as Sahilu slots in into P2. Sahilu returns as well in the Mercedes, partnered along Kyle Scarrett. Kyle Scarrett is back as well. He hasn't been league racing for such a long time, since the FRL days all those years ago. Sweet Crown goes up into P5 in the Racing Bull, continuing his good pace as he proves to be a 3-time world champion here in CRL.
I see 3-time world champion. That's, I think, how many multiple world champions have we got now in CRL? I don't think the list is very long, is it, Jamie? I mean, you are the walking encyclopedia after all.
We've got, I don't think we've got many repeating world champions other than Duel and Sweet Crown. I can't really think of many other people. We've got Jeroen Vizsla, who's a one-time champ. Nathan,
I think Mark
QVR
Wilson's
Nathan.
also in that list as well, isn't he?
Possibly, I'm not quite sure. I haven't really checked recently, but yeah, I think we've got some repeating champions. I'm talking about CRL Division 1 because obviously the tiers before I don't really have a look at unless I'm commentating them.
No, I think what you're saying is there, what's it called? It's unless they're Tier 1, your encyclopedia's got nothing in it.
I mean, I do like to look at stats from like time to time, from like Division 2, Division 3, etc. But unfortunately, the walk-in encyclopedia can't make it tonight. But LT Bompierre, unfortunately, validates his lap time. And I do know Bompierre has got about 13 podiums in CRL, maybe more than that. I haven't really seen the stats because they've not been updated due to the lack of admin staff. But LT Bompierre hasn't had a win just yet. It got taken away from him by Jeroen Vizsla in the final race in Abu Dhabi. And what a race that was between those two.
Very, very good race. I remember watching that one. Obviously, while we have been commentating there, Dan Joe OXO, he's slid up into P10 with a 1 minute 4.7. I do believe he is charging that ERS to go again, potentially for another shot here. Only one driver currently with 1 minute 3 on the board, and that is Mr. Head Admin himself, which is CRL Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan JB then on a provisional pole. He has got some monumental pace. He's not a world champion in CRL. He's finished P2 quite a few times. As Legende spins out of turn 6 there. Too much throttle input on the exit. You could definitely tell the back of the car wanted to cry, wanted to complain. Here comes Bosch Evans towards the line. What can he do? Bosch Evans goes towards the top of the pecking order with a 3.824. And that's mighty pace there from the Aston Martin driver. Can he keep it up? Then Dave entering the first sector, but unfortunately he is a few hundreds down. Here's the Dutchman.
Yeah, very, very good driver in that of Bosch Evans. Obviously, I've raced against him a couple of times. Speed class, I've got nothing on him. He is really, to be fair, all of these boys in this tier are quick. It's good to see. this is basically what I would class the all-stars of CRL. Basically, when you look at the names that are in this list, you're going to look at every single one of them and go, all of them have got potential to be lifting that trophy in 12 rounds' time.
Indeed, then we've got a few Division 2 drivers, but still, Division 2 drivers can be definitely quick. We saw that last season as well, when some of them reserved for Division 1. Even Bosch Evans as well, when he was a Division 2 driver full-time, he made his appearance back in Mexico last season in Division 1 again, after being dropped down, and I think he's won that race or finished in P2, I'm not quite sure, but Kalen understeering through turn 6 there. Let's see his middle sector. He's currently 2/10 up in that middle sector in the middle part of the lap as he continues down the hill towards turn 9 and turn 10 as we head now towards the final corners where Daniel Ricciardo crashed in practice as Henry goes quickest as Kayla goes off the track. Here comes Kayla now towards the line. He goes up into P10 despite running wide on the exit there, but Henry is on pole with a 3.6. What a margin, what a gap.
Red Bull on pole, where have we heard that story so many times, Jamie?
Not this season, other than Japan.
I was going to say, you can't say that no more. Japan, the man went and did it.
That shows you the brilliance of Max Verstappen. Even if you're not a fan of him, it really does show the capabilities he has of a world champion. Here comes Nathan towards the line, and Nathan stays in P3. Doesn't even improve on his own personal best either. But yeah, Max Verstappen proving that he can definitely outdrive the car, and even at his lowest, he can definitely still show what he's capable of. Even Lewis Hamilton as well, all the drivers, when something's wrong with the car, they still manage to outperform it, and that shows the level of strength the drivers have.
No, it's true. I mean, it's a well-known fact I'm not the biggest Max fan, but one thing I'll always say, and I will always say this, you cannot deny the man has got serious talent.
Indeed. I'm not really a big Max fan either, but I do respect him. I think he's a funny guy off the track as well. Max Verstappen does show his humour side, his mother's side, but his father's side on the track. As here comes Sahilu towards the line. Doesn't improve, stays in. Look at that, 007 for both of them, Kyle and Sahilu.
Isn't it right? Oh, just remind us of the rule, Jamie, of obviously if a driver ties with somebody with another time, it's the person who set the lap most recently that takes the lead position, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it is. It is. So the person who set the time first will occupy that place.
There we go. So Sophia obviously setting it first. Meanwhile, while we were obviously on board with the others as well, I was back on board with CRL 3-4. He's snuck up back into P12 with 1 minute 4.6. We do have just over 5 minutes left of qualifying, so expect some more faster times and maybe, just creeping ever so closer into the 1 minute 2s. I've got a feeling someone's going to do it, Jamie. I really do.
Your optimism is high, I dare say. I don't think nobody can get the 2s.
That's how much faith I have in these boys. I've got a feeling someone's going to do it.
I'm glad you have faith in these guys, but I don't, to be pessimistic about it, I don't think nobody's going to do it unless, of course, we transfer over to the 2020 game or 2021. But here comes Steve now, flying through the middle sector. He is 2 and a bit tenths up. Steve was also a contender last season until a few mistakes happened in his wake. Here he is in the Williams, around the final quarters, in 6th gear, goes off the track, and unfortunately has invalidated that lap time as well.
So unlucky there from Saban. Meanwhile, Boom Pierre, he's come back in. He's aborted his run. He did invalidate as well, so I do believe I'm going to jump on board and keep an eye on a McLaren driver who's also invalidated as well. So I think the only driver that's on any sort of potential... Nope, even he has invalidated. Nobody on the track is currently on a valid lap, Jamie.
I saw Bosch Evans go out wide in towards turn 1, so unfortunately that lap time was ruined before it even started. Turn 1 is so tricky because you want to take the right amount of curb in towards turn 1 because it can definitely throw you off balance and throw you off the track, as Dan has had an excursion somewhere because I think he's lost his end plate and hit the wall somewhere. So unfortunately Dan has broke his wing but still kept his tyres intact, therefore he has enough time to go for another flying lap. There is 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go on the clock as we see Hobbsy as well, who I think was very close to winning last season. He was super close, but I think he just dropped away in the dying stages of the Grand Prix. I remember him finishing in the podiums a few times, but I think he's still yet to win. as we see the man come towards the final two corners as he starts his potential final flying lap. The best thing around this track is so short, you can do about 4 or 5 runs as well, maybe on the same set of soft compound tyres. So it's not like Belgium, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, where it takes ages to get back into pit lane. You can afford to make a few mistakes, but obviously want to keep it nice and clean as well. Hobbs gets a good run out of turn 1, heading towards this left-hander of turn 2. Not really a corner in Formula 1, but it is in MotoGP, and it's more than a corner now. It's a chicane due to that massive crash in 2020, and Hobbsy lost the rear end of the car as he oversteered wide. So the reason why the chicane is there, for people that don't know, is because that massive MotoGP crash in 2020, where I think the likes of Franco Morbidelli, Johan Zarco made contact flat out towards turn 2. Then that bike almost took out Maverick Vinales and Valentino Rossi, and that almost could have been life-threatening as well on that day. So that's why the chicane is there.
You're speaking to the wrong Alan, unfortunately, there, Jamie. You need either my sister or my uncle to know what you're going on about MotoGP. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but let me get my uncle on the blower for you. He'll be able to talk to you about Valentino Rossi and MotoGP till the cows come home.
Unfortunately for him, I'm not a Valentino Rossi fan. I'm a Marc Marquez fan. Two massive rivals. So
I can hear him in my head at the moment. He's got a room dedicated to Valentino Rossi. He's crying, Jamie. He's crying for you saying that.
Sorry for him, but Hobbs is going for a second lap on these sets of compound tyres, and look at that, on the right hand side, all those guys respected him and gets out of the way. That's the respect we want to see as we head down towards turn 3. This time no oversteer as he used the outside curb there, had a bit of wheel spin, but nevertheless still got the throttle very nicely as we head downhill towards turn 4. Then another heavy braking zone, down to the gears we go, just missing the apex on the entry there, but use a bit of curb on the outside too as we head towards this flat out king, as we head towards, I think, turn 6 now in 5th gear, carrying a minimum speed, making sure you avoid the curb on the inside through both turn 6 and turn 7. Turn 8 is all about making sure you don't run out wide and invalidate as well. So this track is prone to invalidations as we head through turn 9 and turn 10 we go. Bob Pierre goes quickest. It's a 6.01 as we ride on board with Hobbsy as he crosses the line. It's a 4.4.
No improvement for Hobbsy, but there is still time to potentially get another lap done. Maybe if he's still got enough, but I highly doubt it, if I'm honest. Meanwhile, I'm on board with Bosch Evans, who's starting his. I've got a feeling, I've got something about the Welshman in the Aston Martin. I've got a feeling that we're going to see Bosch put it on pole.
We're about to find out. Here comes Kyle now towards the line. He goes. As he goes up to P3, that's a decent lap time from Kyle. Displaces Josh as we see his teammate Sahilu making his way now towards the end of the middle sector. He is up by a 10th, so both Mercedes have got some decent pace. It's a Red Bull 1-2.
Oh, commentator's curse is struck, Jamie. Bosch is in a wall with no front wing.
Unlucky to him as here comes Chihuahua towards the final two corners. A bit of an oversteer out of turn 9 as here he is in Merck. He crosses the line, stays in P6. No improvement other than his personal best as I think Sieb has popped his Williams into P3. So it's an ILT 1, 2, 3. Sorry about that.
I do believe the checkered flag is being now waved, Jamie, so we are going to see them coming in thick and fast. Meanwhile, I think the first driver to cross the line after the checkered flag is CRL Nathan. He takes P4 over 1:03. And they're all coming in thick and fast.
And here comes Dave now towards the final corner. He comes very fast indeed. And he was up by a 10th as he crossed the line. Dave goes up into P7 just ahead of Sahilu. Sahilu is not on a fly. Where's Sweet Clown? The usual suspect. Sweet Clown is in P10, unfortunately.
P10.
Not what we see from our multiple world champion there, Sweet Clown.
Yeah, Sweet Crown. Anyone who's been in CRL for a while knows the man of Sweet Crown. He is a very quick talent. He's very quick, very hard to beat, and you never know. Could be on for a 4th. I think he could be, Jamie. Like I said a moment ago, you don't know with this grid. It's a very, very high talent of grid. I think it's anyone's game this season.
Could Sweet Cloud become the 4-time world champion here in CRL? The
He'd
most
be
championships.
The first one, would he not?
He would indeed. Not the first Dutchman that becomes the 4-time world champion, but Sweet Clown. Let's have a look and see what he does. As look at the gaps between Sahilu and Den Dave as well. 4,000ths of a second, and Cole Paradox or Huchatet. Hopefully you're doing well, mate. I thank you so much for the lovely comments as well.
I do believe everybody has now completed their qualifying, Jamie. Obviously, no one did make that sub 2, so you were right there, mate. I will concede that the boys couldn't do it, but you never know in the future. With F125 around the corner, I've got high hopes for the game, and hopefully it will restore a lot of people's faith in the F1 series. Because, like we said earlier on, the F1 games have been they have dropped the ball, but especially with this game. Obviously, they had the issues at the beginning, but I think they're slowly starting to kink them out.
We'll come back to the F1 game as soon as we do the classification. So it is Bob Pierre on pole ahead of Henry. It's a Red Bull 1-2. Sieb in P3, Nathan in P4, the second row. Two of them sharing the second row. Be heavyweight versus heavyweight. Here comes Carl's in P5 ahead of Bosch Evans. Then Dave in P7. Sahilu in 8th ahead of Legende. And Speed Car rounds off the top 10. Dan in P11 ahead of KXI. Hobbsy P3 ahead of 3-4, 4-star, and Diddy who will start down in 16th place. So let's see how this race goes. But a 2-stop is going to be very interesting. Every single driver, I hope, knows that it's a 2-stop strategy.
Well, if they're listening to us, they most definitely know now it is a 2-stop. And it's rain. Oh, God, that's heavy rain. Ooh, now, Jamie, this could be spicy. Now, Nathan did put in the pit wall. I don't know if you read it earlier, that even though it is raining, the drivers do still have to stop twice.
Yes, I did see that. So it's going to be wet, I think. Yeah, wet.
That is heavy rain. If it's going to be blues. Even though we never see the blue wars nowadays in actual F1 because the FIA seem to be afraid of the full wet tyres. But it's going to be interesting, not for certain.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. We don't really see the wet compound tyres being used because the FIA, obviously, they care a lot about safety, but at the same time, the drivers are made for the wet conditions. They have been practicing their whole life as well, being in the wet conditions and dry conditions as well. That's why they're the best Formula One drivers, all 20 of them, except Lance Stroll. But we'll see then how this race goes.
You beat me to it. You actually beat me. I was 5 seconds away from saying it, and you beat me to it. 19 drivers in Lance Stroll. I wonder if Lance understands I wonder if he realises how much hate he gets.
I mean, does he even enjoy F1? Like, that's the question.
Well, when you see him in photos and when you see him on social media, he doesn't ever look happy, does he? Let's face it. I don't think I've ever actually seen him like genuinely smile, and when he does, it seems forced.
Like, he's got a lot of money, but he's just there for like
no, get it right. His dad's got a lot of money.
Yeah,
he's just there. Let's get it right, mate. Daddy's got a lot of money.
You're going to respect Daddy Stroll, though, because he's saved a lot of jobs in 2018 when Force India went into administration, became Aston Martin.
No, to be fair to Lawrence Stroll, he did save a lot of jobs. I mean, let's face it. I mean, if I owned an F1 team, or if you owned an F1 team, and you had a son, let's face it, you'd put them in your team as well. I mean, I know for a fact I definitely would with my son if I owned an F1 team, even if he can't race. But you would though. It is very true. But the thing is, the man did save a lot of jobs. And obviously, Aston Martin, is it going to be a team for the future now that Adrian Newey's moved over to there, along with the Honda engine? I want to say so. It's a very good engine, very good engineer. Aston Martin, we could eventually see something, but not from Lance Stroll.
Yeah, not for Lance Stroll, but I'm pretty curious because I feel sorry for Fernando Alonso. He's got like a habit of going to the wrong team at the wrong time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Aston Martin, let's face it, we've all assumed that he's gone there to end his career. Let's face it, I personally don't think Fernando Alonso is going to extend his contract come the end of 2026. I mean, he has already gone on record to say that, look, I'm going to see what the 2026 regulations are like, and then at the end of it, go from there. But I can't see it personally.
I can't see him moving to a different team. Aston Martin will be his last team. And I'm a big Sebastian Vettel fan. What annoyed me or upset me is that when Sebastian Vettel retired at the end of 2022, 2023 was the year for Aston Martin where
it got good.
Yeah, got better and better. And I was thinking to myself, oh, Sebastian, man, if you got just more podiums. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing for me. I mean, I'm a massive Seb fan, and I'm gutted he never won one with Ferrari. As you know, I'm a Ferrari fan. I'm gutted Seb never got that championship win. I mean, he had fantastic battles with Lewis. Don't get me wrong, but I'm gutted he never got that fifth title.
Yeah, me too. Ever since Sebastian Vettel retired, I just don't know who to support. I still don't know. Like,
I'm still a
I'm on
Seb
the
fan,
fence.
mate.
Yeah, me
Even to this
too.
day, out of all the drivers that are on the grid, there's no one out there that's really striking me to go, you know what, I'm going to cheer on a driver. At the moment, I'm team-based. I'm Ferrari. But if I had to choose one of the drivers, if I had to, I'm going to go with Kimi Antonelli because I think the kid's got a bright future ahead of him. Either that or Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, Oscar Piastri's caught my eye a lot, so I do support him quite a lot.
Now, controversial choice, Jamie. Out of the two drivers at McLaren, Lando and Oscar, who do you think is more likely to win a title? See, I believe that Piastri can do it because, let's face it, Lando's been with McLaren now for a while, and Oscar's come in and has won just as many races as Lando has in shorter time.
I think Oscar, he's got the mentality. He's very, very calm. Just a very nice. He's a nice guy. He's very calm and collected, and just his demeanor as well. He just seems to be so calm no matter what happens. You didn't hear him on the radio screaming in Silverstone in 2024 or Australia. You barely hear him on the radio at all.
No, you don't. I genuinely think Oscar will get a title before Lando does. Honestly, I believe that wholeheartedly.
But the light's about to go away then for the race here in Austria. It's a Red Bull 1-2 like it was in the sprint where Verstappen and Perez were side by side as Perez pushed him off the track. As we go racing here, as we enter turn number 1, Bonpierre has Henry up the inside, but Henry backs out of it. Very wisely indeed. Here comes Steve. He's around the outside of Nathan. He takes the place away from Nathan. In fact, defends from it as Nathan tries to attack him, but couldn't quite get him. As we got a whole gaggle of cars there making their way up towards turn 2. Look at Henry right behind Bonpierre. He's on the outside of him. Going in towards turn 3, it's a late braking move. He keeps it on the road. It could have been very easily gone off the track there with the heavy fuel and the cold tyres as well, and not knowing the grip temperature. But Henry, when he comes back on Bonpierre as we head down towards turn 4, is it a lunge from the Red Bull? No, it's not. He stays behind for the time being then as they all remain in formation. Legende and Sweet Cloud go wheel to wheel out turn before we go. It seems Sweet Cloud has a little bit of a better exit, and he has the outside line. Better momentum as he goes around the outside. He puts himself into P8 there. Does Sweet Cloud. Legende, it seems to be struggling, a bit tentative as well. The car seems to be reluctant sometimes to turn in as well. And look at that, massive wheel spin as well to go with it. As Seeb is right behind Henry as well. Somebody in the background goes a bit wide out of turn number 8. But so far, it's a Red Bull 1-2 as off the track goes Henry. Rejoins in P2 there. Be very careful as well because Seeb is right behind and he's going to take any advantage he can as Bosch Evans in the pit lane.
Well, Bosch is obviously doing his first pit due to, I believe, he does have damage. I was about to say that a lot of the drivers have pretty much maintained their position. Some have gained. Unfortunately, Josh has now lost those positions after coming in on lap 1 to repair that damage. But, like you said, Jamie, it's a Red Bull 1-2 still, but a very, very long way to go. And I hate to be in their position at the moment. It's full wet in Austria, a very quick racetrack, and that spray from the drivers, it's going to be... It's going to be quick, but this time it's going to be more of skill more than quickness, I think.
A lot of skill, a lot of concentration is required. I know how difficult it is in these conditions as well, especially if you make one little mistake, it can be a big one, and find yourself a dropping down the order. Look at Seeb continuously to harass Henry as he's all over the back of him. Seeb seems to have a lot of confidence in his Williams as well, looking for one mistake, and maybe, just maybe, it's a bit too far away. I thought for 1 second he might fancy it before turn 9, but backs out of it. Seeb is a very calm, wise driver indeed, a multiple race winner, a PSGL F4 driver as well, as he's climbing all over the back of the Red Bull driver Henry, tries to split up both Red Bulls as Bonpierre now sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix as we head down towards turn 1. Sweetcon takes the fast lap as well. He goes ahead of Kyle. Sweetcon's got some relentless pace once again, hence why he is in relentless, and he puts himself into P6. And Steve is right to the back of the Red Bull driver. Can he make inroads on Bonpierre as we go wheel to wheel, heading down towards turn 3? Steve having the inside line, double locks up. He makes the corner stick, but Henry's still on the outside. But Steve, what a beautiful move to put himself into P2. Well done indeed. And now he can chase after Bonpierre.
Yeah, timed perfectly there from Seed. There was no hesitation. He made every right move, and now to split the two Red Bulls, he's going to have his eye on that lead Red Bull. You know what? This little battle, I've got a feeling we are going to see the Ferrari of CRL Nathan coming into play very soon. Nathan's a very good driver. When he keeps his head down, he'll be very, very good. Meanwhile, Bosch has obviously lost 10 positions. There's battles going on everywhere, Jamie. They're all racing clean. There's no real aggression. It's what I call a proper race.
Indeed. The D-Wet races always show us the best race of the D because it shows the driver's skills, the patience as well. And you can definitely tell when a driver, like Lawrence Stroll, you've seen him being very good in the wet from time to time, but he's just like, I don't know what's wrong with him these days. He just doesn't seem to have like, well, I don't know actually, but obviously you know how he got into F1 when in 2017 he joined Williams, of course, as Kyle is the first one to pick up A3 second time. But I will never forget about Monza 2017 when he qualified on the front row in P2. Yes, both Red Bulls got a penalty for engine penalties, but Stroll put it into P2. Then in Istanbul in 2020 when Stroll put it on pole, I was actually watching that race a few days ago.
But there is a lovely battle going on for P10 here between Dan and Hobbsy. Both are trading positions. It was very clean round turn 3, and they are battling down the straight all the way down into turn 4. This is going to be one to watch.
Yeah, these two were fighting quite hard as well last lap, and they still remain wheel to wheel. So Hobbsy and Dan then still in battle, but Hobbsy seems to end that fight as he puts himself into P10 just ahead of the McLaren driver. We've got the Aston Martin of Caleb right behind as well, looking to pick up the pieces. 4 stars there as well in P13, free fall, and Diddy. The tier 2 drivers are down there, but they're doing a solid job trying to keep it on the road because it is so difficult to keep on the road as well. So they're just managing it whilst going side by side with each other. But see then, is he making inroads at Bompia? The gap has been quite stale for a little bit of time. It's gone to about 5 to 6 tenths. It remains in control. Bompia seems to stabilise the gap, and however, one person who is on the prowl, it is Sweetcorn. He's right behind his fellow Dutchman on Dead Dave as we climb towards the hill towards turn 2. Here comes the champion of CRL, going wheel to wheel with Dead Dave as we head down towards turn 3. Nice move to the inside, goes a bit deep. It's the Williams looking for a switchback. He is, as the Williams then has a better exit than Sweetcorn. Sweetcorn fighting for traction as we head down towards turn 4. Is he going to make a lunge up the inside? Is he a bit too far back? Let's have a look. He is a bit too far back, and he has to bide his time once again.
So interestingly enough, Jamie, as you were doing that, CRL Freefall has come in for his first pit stop. Now at first I thought he may have had some damage, but they've only changed the wheels. So are the wet tyres getting overheated a bit too quickly? As this is going to be interesting, especially if the tyres are dying off a little bit too quickly, because there was no damage on that Haas from CRL Freefall.
I've got some information about the wet compound tyres. They are very durable tyre indeed. So what I'm thinking is that he's trying to get one of his 2 stops out of the way as quickly as he can. So let's see if he is doing that. Oh, sweet car there. I thought he cut the corner, but he just escaped from that. Henry now sets the fast up the Grand Prix as he chases after Seeb and Bob here as well as we head down towards turn 1. Sweet Crowd is right behind Den Dave. Den Dave with that beautiful switchback on Sweet Crowd finds himself under massive pressure then as the battery is being used, but barely any battery left in his disposal as we climb towards the top of turn 3. Is there a move for Sweet Crown? He's going to be patient. Then Dave defends it. That might be the wrong call because the door is open for Sweet Crown to go through, but not yet though, as I think Den Dave had the outside line and stayed ahead for the time being. The battle for the top 3 though is getting interesting. Seeb is right behind his good friend of Bompia as they fight away for first place. It's getting very intense now. Seeb is in a Red Bull sandwich and it's being hunted down as well by Henry and chased after Bompia as Kalen and Hobbsy are going wheel to wheel as Kalen just puts himself into P11 ahead of the kick Sauber of Hobbsy.
Yeah, I'm on board with the battle for P1 at the moment. I am on board with IRT Henry, and he is desperately trying to catch the Williams of IRT Seed. It is action-packed, it is very close, and no driver is putting a hair out of line. Obviously, with the wet weather, it's so much harder anyway, because one false move and you are going to go in a war, and the spray's not going to be helping either. Nathan's doing a good job to stay as close as he can to them and not letting them get too far, and it's just great battling. No matter where you look, Jamie, everywhere someone is battling someone, and it's great. It's so good, the fact that we've got this level of racing in CRL and Tier 1, and what an opening race that this could be.
Indeed, as Sieb outbreaks himself in towards turn 3. Will that give Henry a bit of an opportunity? Sweet Crown, does he get past? He does. Sweet Crown finally gets past. Then Dave, as he can chase after Nathan. As here comes Henry then, looking to go around the outside. Late break in there from the Red Bull driver. Can he make it stick? He's going to be so close to the exit. It's going to be a traction race out of turn 4. Let's see who gets better traction. Let's see who gets ahead of who. As we head down towards turn 6. Sieb trying to stick it around the outside. We're so close, millimeters away from contact, but Sieb just stays ahead for the time being and stays in P2. This is a fantastic scrap going on between these two boys here as well, keeping it nice and clean despite the difficult conditions.
Yeah, both drivers leaving each other the perfect amount of space, side by side, no contact, clean, what you call textbook racing.
Indeed it is, and under such high intensity of racing, under immense pressure, as Bompia sets the fast up the Grand Prix as well, as the gap is 8 tenths then. So those two battling has gave Bompia a little bit of breathing space, but not too much. Then, Henry sliding out of turn number 1, just fighting for traction on the exit of turn 1. As we climb towards the hill, towards turn 2 and turn 3, is Henry's a bit too far back, but Hobbsy is in the pits.
Yeah, so Hobbsy coming in for his first mandatory pit stop. Obviously, with it being wet weather, there is no DRS assistance, so the boys are literally doing it
Inters.
on... is it Inters he gone for? Is he on Inters?
He is. He's on Inters.
Oh, I wonder if that's saying something. As Henry he goes a little, he loses the back end of the car ever so slightly, not by much, but it is enough just to let the Williams of Seed creep away. But still within, he's got the advantage of being in the slipstream. I reckon he'll be back with him very soon. Meanwhile, Nathan is slowly gaining on the top 3. And when I say slowly, I mean treacle pace, Jamie. But you can start to see now that that line is starting to appear on the track. So maybe Hobbsy knows something that we don't. Maybe the weather's going to start getting lighter soon, because that racing line is starting to appear on the track.
Indeed it is. Then you can see the fast lap tumbling as Sieb now says the fast lap of the Grand Prix. He's been under pressure from round 1 Red Bull. Now he's putting the pressure on the other one. Legende is in the pit lane too. It is definitely Inters, because the rain isn't as torrential. The puddles as well aren't really as bad as they were before. So the Inters will be attached on these cars very soon. But the problem is though, one Red Bull driver has to stay out as Sieb almost hit the back of Bompia there. Just gets away with it as Bompia slides out of turn 3 there, fighting for traction. So I think the wet compound tyres could be overheated a bit as well, because it's not their professional, it's not their optimal track conditions, is it? Because it's a bit too light. Oh, it's not too heavy.
The rain is now getting lighter. Legende has also said, I'm going to agree with Hobbsy, he's coming for Inters. You can see the line appearing. The rain is now getting light on our screen. The spray isn't as bad no more. I do believe, Jamie, that we are now entering into territory.
So I think Nathan might have a chance to get ahead of one Red Bull driver, because they have to stay out there. But I think one of them should definitely pick this lap, not leave it out too late. But they're still going out there on the wet compound tyres, which is very interesting. Remember, this is a 2-stop strategy, so this is quite an interesting strategy going on here between these guys. I thought they'd go on the Inters to do one more stop, as then Dave is in the pit lane. That's the Williams then, so the Williams of Dave can give some feedback towards Steve to see if the Inters are good enough. But Hobbsy's caught up to free fall, so that gives us a bit of detail to see if the Inters are better than the wet compound tyres. As we now climb up towards turn 3 we go. Let's see any moves being made down here. This is a tricky breaker zone, because you're arriving at such speed as well, making sure you don't hit the back of your rivals. As then Dave rejoins in P12, maybe 13, because Bosch Evans is right there as well. As Bosch Evans, will he get past then Dave? No, he won't. He stays behind him for the time being.
Then Dave also opted for the intermediate tyres. So yeah, the drivers have pretty much come to the same conclusion that we have now, Jamie, that it is definitely time for Inters. Now, which of the two Red Bulls is going to come in fast? There's no difference in between them. The Ferrari is definitely going to move up into P3 when one of them does come in. But does he follow? If you was in Nathan's position now, would you follow the first Red Bull in, or would you attempt to go long?
I'd follow the first Red Bull in. What? Are they double stacking? Oh, about to say Henry. It looked like he was about to enter the pit lane, but he wasn't. He stayed out there. He followed those two in the pit lane in the correct procedure. But I'm not quite sure why, because he lost himself a lot of time doing that as well. That is such a precarious pit lane, because that pit lane is very dangerous, in my opinion. I really don't like the pit lane entry there.
Yeah, it can be quite hazardous. One false move, because obviously you can take turn 9 at such speed as well. You don't have to really brake. You can lift and coast around that corner, and it can end quite badly, especially if someone then decides for a late pit to come in. Turn 9 is most vicious of the corners on this track.
And then Dave has rejoined ahead of Sweet Crown once again. Bosch Evans is right behind the Dutchman as he's still on the wet compound tyres. I don't expect him to pressure him much as well because Sweet Crown has the better tyres, but we know Bosch Evans can go for a move when he likes to, when he wants to, but Sweet Crown just stays ahead for the time being then. So then Dave's rejoined ahead again of Sweet Crown. So Sweet Crown's got to do the hard work of passing him once again. And Sieb, interestingly, is behind Kalen, so they've been split up a bit. And here comes Bompia on Dan. They go wheel to wheel as Bompia now puts himself into P4. That's a crucial move because essentially he's got two cars in between himself and Sieb. Sieb has to get past immediately to stick with Bompia. Henry's in the pits.
Yeah, so you obviously got the Ferrari of Nathan. He's decided to follow in the other Red Bull as well. So I don't. It's like they're listening to us, Jamie, as if they know what we're saying. But it's very close. The driver's still starting to come in. I think we're pretty much going to see as yet the Dan and Kalen both also coming in, but pitting. Tongue-tied. I just had a brain fart there, Jamie. I'm just going to waffle on for a bit and let you take back over.
That's fine, mate. But Henry has rejoined behind Sieb. Sweet Crown gets a 3-second time penalty, so he's been playing with the track limits there as he continues the pursuit after Den Dave. So I think majority of drivers, except Bosch Evans, have made their pit stops go on the intermediates, and it looks like it's getting lighter and lighter. So could we see? I have seen conditions like this before, where it goes from torrential rain, very wet, to light standing water, then to dry. So could we see all three phases in this Grand Prix? Because it looks like it's getting better and better. Here comes Sahilu on the back of Bosch Evans as we head down towards turn 4. Sahilu needs to get past him quickly so he can catch after Sweet Crown. And then Dave, does he have to switch back? He should have the better grip, but he's still squirming away as we head towards turn 6. Let's see who gets ahead of who. And Bosch Evans there just lets the brake pedal go, and he stays in P7 for the time being. This is aggravated Sahilu.
Yeah, very good racing there. Now, the only driver to have completed his mandatory 2 pit stops now is CRL Freefall. So, technically, on a technicality, the driver currently in provisional P1 is CRL Freefall because he has now completed both mandatory stops.
Just wondering, yep, he's 42.5 seconds away, so that's a long way away from Freefall.
You never know. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
And here comes Chihuahua on the back of Bosch Evans then, as he now moves himself up into P7. And that's a decent move there. Had to get the move done so he didn't lose time towards Sweet Crown and Den Dave. However, I've noticed that Den Dave is catching as well, Nathan JB. So Nathan JB, that transitional phase from wets to inters, looks like he's struggling a bit on the intermediates because Den Dave and Sweet Crown actually catched him as well. So Nathan's got a bit of company in his hands tonight.
Yeah, Bosch Evans is the only driver on the grid now as well that's currently still on the wet compound tyre. Now, surely he's going to be in this lap. I can't see him staying out because the rain is lighter. The Mercedes got past him with ease on the Inter. It's got to be time to come in now for the Aston Martin. I wonder if he's just gone that one lap too long.
And back in Canada last season, Bosch Evans, he did wets to dries. I don't know how he did it, but he went from wet compound tyres straight to dry. So maybe he's waited. Sweet Crown's in the pits, by the way. So that's very interesting.
Okay, and Sweet Crown's retired. He's out of the Grand Prix. Jamie, Sweet Crown is out of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Oh dear, I'm not quite sure what has happened to him. I really hope we get an explanation, but I think he just gave up. Like, plainly gave up.
Right, okay, that's not what I was expecting. Right, 1 down, 15 to go. Only 15 drivers left in this race. Obviously, it's not going to cause a safety car because he obviously retired in the pit. His car may come back out onto track, but it's not going to cause anything major. Meanwhile, Josh hasn't got the grip on them tyres now. In turn 10 of his last lap, he kind of lost a bit of control. He's kept it nicely under control, but those wet tyres must be screaming at him at this point.
Indeed, then. So back in the Canadian Grand Prix, when he went from wets to the, I think it was the medium compound tyres or dry compound tyres, What a strategy that was as well. I think he had damage, so even worse as well. We had sustained damage and still have some decent pace in Division 2. Bompier, though, has got a bit of breathing space now, as Sieb is trying to hunt him down, but the gap keeps on fluctuating out there as well between those two, so it is control so far for Bompier. Bompier is still looking for his first win in CRL, and if he does it for the first time here in Season 12, then what a mega job, because I've been waiting so long, because I've known him for such a long time. Such a great character, very nice to talk to, a great driver, a great admin as well for ILT, a great asset for ILT, and I can't wait to see him get his first win, because he thoroughly deserves it after all the podiums he's got in the last few seasons. So can Bompier do it here tonight? I wish him the best. But I've noticed as well, Rob, that a few drivers here are lifting and coasting. Look at the fuel on the light.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers are lifting and coasting. They're in certain corners on this track. It's so easy to lift and coast. Like I said earlier, turn 9, that's the biggest one that you can definitely lift and coast. Turn 2 technically isn't a turn, but it is a turn. Obviously, it's all about knowing where to do it. Turn 9 is the easiest place, but a lot of them are saving that fuel. But one thing that I did notice, that IRT Henry did go wide in turn 3 on this lap that's just gone.
As now Sieb is essentially in the DRS range, if there was DRS. Have these guys got it on full traction or something? It seems like they have so much grip.
I don't know what the lobby settings are for Tier 1 Season 12 this year, Jamie. I've not had a chance to quickly check, but I want to say that it's the same settings as what the Tier 2 boys have on a Monday night. As far as I'm aware, it's not factual. As far as I'm aware, it's the same settings.
By the way, that was like that. Oh, Steve goes a bit deep into towards turn 3, but that question wasn't. I didn't ask the question. It was somebody in the comment section. So to answer your question in the comment section, majority of these guys, if not all of them or some of them, are esports drivers. So having assists on will be illegal for them, because they're not supposed to have it on, because some teams like ILT don't allow assists. Hence why I'm not in ILT no more. But yes. No traction is definitely off. You can definitely tell, because there's massive wheel spin on the exits. I don't know how they have so much grip, but that's the game for you.
Yeah, the game is. I've sort of dropped off the ball when it comes to this game. At one point, I think my last decent season was Season 7, and then since then I've just free fallen down down the rankings. It's been a while since I've had a good season at CRL, and it's probably going to be a long time before you see me back on the grid for CRL.
Nathan JB is 6 seconds away then, so he's definitely not in this fight. He's lost time on these intermediate compound tyres towards the top 3, so it is an ILT scrap for first place. Which ILT driver is it going to be? Is it going to be Bompier? Is it going to be Sieb? Or is it going to be Henry? Oh, they're going deep. Both of them went deeper towards turn 3, and Henry is right to the back of Sieb then, ready to capitalise. I think Sieb followed Bompier, so that's why he went a bit deep in towards turn number 3 himself. Will Henry make a move? No, he's not. He stays behind for the time being. I was going to use a fancy word in my media technology, but I can't remember what it was. I think when someone does something, you do the same as them. I can't remember what the word is called.
Mimic. Mimic would be the word. When someone does something, you copy. You're mimicking them, Jamie. So we'll go with mimic.
Yeah, mimic. Yeah, that's a good word.
Den Dave picking up a 3-second time penalty. Den Dave and Kyle both with 3 seconds worth of penalties, I believe, on their name. Obviously, Sweet Crown did have a time penalty, but obviously no longer taking part in this Grand Prix. There is still no word on why he's retired. I'm trying to keep an eye on the paddock chat as we speak, just in case he does put anything. But no word as of yet while the RB driver is no longer in this Grand Prix.
Sorry if you hear some beeping in the background. I'm not sure if it was me. I'm hearing some beeping. Can you hear it?
I can hear the beeping, so I think it is from you. Henry with the lunge on the Williams, and can Sieb hold on? That was a great lunge, but it's going to be an interesting battle all the way down to turn 4, Jamie.
It is indeed, so there's a fire alarm going off here, unfortunately, but Henry is now ahead of Sieb. Once again, that's a great move for Henry. He is absolutely flying. Is the Red Bull driver, and the Red Bull are back together, then first and second. I hope somebody turns that fire alarm off.
You never know. It could be. Well, these boys are on fire, Jamie. That's why we've got the fire alarm going off.
Definitely. Hopefully not the fire in the house, but we'll see then. We are halfway into this Grand Prix. Bompier has led majority of it since he started on pole position, but he's been hunted down by his own teammates, so it's going to be a Red Bull scrap with the Williams in P3, something unrealistic like you see in real life. But the last time Red Bull did have a scrap here was at the Austrian Grand Prix, I believe. I think they went side by side. Perez pushed Verstappen onto the grass, then Verstappen dive-bombed Perez in the sprint race in towards turn 3.
Yeah, they did. If I remember correctly, it was the same race where a lot of the Dutch fans decided to chuck orange spray can paints, the exploding bomb ones that create all that orange mist onto the track, if I remember correctly, if memory serves me right.
I thought that was at the Dutch GP, like Netherlands.
No, it was definitely Austria. I can remember it being Austria. Because as the Hamilton went by, what's it called? That's when it ended up on the track, I remember. I'm certain it was Austria. I could be wrong, but I can honestly remember it being Austria.
I remember being in the Netherlands because I remember somebody in the crowd was filming somebody setting off a flare. Are you talking about a flare or something else?
No, I don't. It wasn't a flare. It was as if it was almost like a smoke bomb, Jamie, like an orange smoke bomb.
I thought it was a flare that came onto the track and interrupted the session in practice last season at Zandvoort. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, my knowledge doesn't really care about.
You don't really care about the real F1. This is what you want, Jamie. You want the virtual. You want the virtual Grand Prix. That's what you want.
Sorry about that as well. That's my phone. That's my. If you heard a T radio noise in the background, it's not the T radio. It's my phone notification. Yes. I've been exposed. I am very sad for that. But Henry and Bompier now in a battle once again. They get so close to the breaking zone, but Bompier just stays ahead for the time being. The Red Bull driver showing some good defensive skills, and Sieb is keeping a close interest. But yes, back to my point about that. That was my sorry. That was my phone notification making that noise. That team radio sound effect. I do have it as my notification, and I have the F1 intro as my ringtone. Yes, very sad indeed.
You know what? I was literally about to say the same thing, Jamie. When my phone rings, I get the F1 theme as well, because that is my ringtone.
Very sad indeed.
My mate Hayden. When my mate Hayden rings me, it's the Wii Sports theme song.
I just love the F1 intro so much. That's why.
Oh, it is a good song. What's it called? It hypes me up every weekend when I hear it, especially when it's time for practice, quali, race. The theme does hype. To the point, I've actually got a superstition when it comes to me playing the F1 games. I won't physically race. You know when the intro comes on the F1 games, the actual intro? If I skip it by accident, I have to close the game and reopen it, because my little suspicion is if I don't watch it and listen to it, I'm going to have a bad day on the game. And I've always stuck to it. There's been a couple of times where I've done it, and then I've just ended up in a wall, or I've just not got on with the wheel, or something. It's a little superstition I've got, but it's one I've stuck to.
Here comes Henry, then right to the back of Bompier once again as we head down towards turn 4. Both Red Bulls wheel to wheel. No more to 21 here between these two. As a bit of contact on the exit, Bompier just stays ahead for the time being ahead of Henry as well. So this is a mighty scrap between both Red Bull drivers. Remember, these guys have got to make one more pit stop, except Bosch Evans and Freefall. They're free to race all the way to the end of this Grand Prix, but the rest of them have to make one more stop because it is a mandatory 2-stop. As we might see some action. What's this? Oh, for 1 second I thought Henry was about to go wheel to wheel towards turn 9. Would have been a very unwise thing to do if he did that.
Yeah, I thought he was. I thought he was going to go around the outside of Bompier. And I thought we were going to have some action going all the way down into turn 10. Don't get me wrong, we've got action anyway, but like I said earlier, turn 9, out of all the corners, is the most dangerous on this track.
It's a single file corner. You can't go side by side there at all. But Henry, how can he get past Bompier? Bompier is defending in the right places at the right time, making sure that Red Bull can't go around the outside or down the inside either. So Bompier showing Henry the hard way around. Can Henry somehow find a way past?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, Jamie, because this battle for P1 is really heating up. All three drivers not leaving each other alone. Obviously, Sieb is sticking close to the two Red Bulls. I wonder if he's biding his time, but like you said a moment ago, everyone apart from Josh and Scott have to come in. So technically, as it stands, if the race was to finish now, only two drivers would be finishing in the points. Obviously, points awarded from P1 all the way down to P12 here in CRL. 30 points to the winner, all the way down to 1 point for up P12, and obviously fastest lap point is awarded so long as they finish in the top 10.
And the Red Bull driver has pitted. Henry has pitted then, so he's going to go for the undercut on Bumpy in front as Henry slows the car down. Oh my goodness me. If you get a penalty in this game, it is so detrimental. It's a 10-second time penalty.
Yeah, they upped it for F124. It's really harsh, but I suppose one of the perks of this game, if you do have a 10-second time penalty and you do come into the pits, you do serve the 10-second time penalty with only 5 seconds. So I don't know if that's a flaw or if it was designed to be that way, but it is harsh, especially if you don't come back in again.
It is indeed. You have to carry that 10-second time penalty all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. So Legende, Dave, and Dan have all pitted then for their mandatory 2-stop strategy. I think Henry is looking to go for the undercut on Bompier and Sieb there, so let's see if that pays in his favours. I don't think the track is going to be dry towards the end, so I think it's inters from now to the end of the Grand Prix. But still, even in the right conditions, we've had some fantastic action between Henry, Sieb, Bompier, Sweetcrown and Sahilo at the time. In fact, Sahilo is right behind Nathan. So here he is then, the Mercedes right behind the Ferrari, and we should see some great action. Does Bompier respond? He does. Bompier has responded. Sieb has stayed out there.
Yeah, I'm on board with this battle for the Ferrari. When was the last time we saw a battle between a Mercedes and a Ferrari? We're going back some time now, back obviously with Seb when we were speaking earlier, was at Ferrari. But Bompier is now in for his mandatory stop, and he's coming back out on another set of inters. You know what, Jamie? I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see dry, unless we're going to get a couple of laps of dry racing right at the very end.
It does surprise us from time to time as well, because we don't really see a full race in F1 League race, although I did one with Freefall on Monday against Glowstick, and it was a full race in Silverstone. But look at this then, both Red Bulls line astern. Henry does not get the undercut, surprisingly, on Bompier then, but he does have the hotter tyres. Can he capitalise and use them to his advantage and overtake Bompier? He can't. So Henry, despite having 1 lap extra, or despite having pitted one lap earlier, he can't get past Bompier unless... No, he doesn't. Stays behind for the time being.
I'm on board with the battle for P8, which is between 4-Star and Bosch Evans. These two are literally pushing each other to the limit. Obviously, 4-Star is the resident TikToker of the CRL League. If you haven't, go and check out his TikTok. He put together an entire compilation of clips from the drivers. But I tell you what, at the moment, Jamie, there's not actually been anything major that we've seen, but it's always a good watch at the end of a Grand Prix.
Oh yes, it is indeed, especially last season more Division 2. The first race of the Australian Grand Prix, we had quite a lot of safety cars, and it was chaotic as well. Look at this, the Red Bulls then in a battle once again. Sieb, interestingly, has stayed out there. Now, let's see the gap to leader. What is the gap to leader between... Yes, the gap's 16 seconds, so I think Sieb will get undercutted when he pits from the lead of the Grand Prix. So... Does he know something we don't? The track seems to get better and better. Like, will it be dry?
There's a good possibility that it could be dry. Obviously, in Austria, you can never really call it this. If it starts off as a dry, it normally ends up as a wet. But if it's wet, it stays. You can't really. Austria is one of my favourites to race because it's so unpredictable. It's so quick. I love the Austrian Grand Prix. It's in my top 5.
It is for me indeed as well. And I remember when I think it was Rubens Barrichello that let Schumacher go back in 2001 or 2, I believe.
Now.
Yeah, that was a long time ago when that happened. Sieb is in the pit lane then, so no waiting for the dry period. He's pitting onto a brand new set of inters. Maybe the younger tyre advantage.
Following him in.
Maybe the younger tyre advantage might give Sieb an opportunity later on the Grand Prix.
Celio, what's it called? Nearly lost it a little bit there on the pit entry. Struggling for brakes. Doesn't pick up any sort of penalty. But he did lose control of that Mercedes a little bit there. That could have ended badly very quickly.
Could this Red Bull battle spice up and become a Rosberg versus Hamilton type battle? It was turn 3. Could there be contact between these two? It's been clean so far for Bompier and Henry. Let's see how clean they'll keep it, as the desperation will start to go up as well, as he knows he's running out of laps to do so. 10 laps left to go. He's trying to get past him but can't seem to do so. See, look at that. Look how much he's lost time. 4.4 seconds he's lost.
Yeah, drivers are coming thick and fast in for their mandatory pit stop. It's close, Jamie. It really is close. I've got a feeling I think we're going to get a bit of a shock towards the end of the race. I've just got this feeling deep down there's something coming, and it's going to shake everything up. I mean, these boys have had a clean race, to be fair. They've done well. But as they start to come in, as they know they need to come in for that mandatory stop, all it takes is for the pressure to get there. One false move, maybe, like I said, maybe a safety car. A late game safety car would definitely shift things as well. Especially if it gets dry. If it gets dry towards the end and everybody's got to dash in for dry compounds at the very end, that is when it could get very spicy.
And plus, one of the Red Bull drivers might have to stay out longer than the other. So let's see if that does happen then. Henry, is this his biggest moment now? Bompier's going defensive. Here comes Henry now, forced to the outside line, as he was previously. Level pegging in the breaker zone. Is he going to be any contact? There is a bit of wheel banging between those two. But Bompier just stays ahead. Does Henry get a better exit? Around the outside into towards turn 3. He has the traction. He has the battery. And Henry, does he take the lead? No, he doesn't. Bompier makes contact with him as they tag wheels. Bompier down the inside. He maintains the lead of the Grand Prix. Henry once again will have to try again, but when he dare go for it towards turn 6, he does not.
They're very, very close racing there from the Red Bull drivers. You can almost hear Christian Horner chucking his headset. Don't damage the cars. But I tell you what, that was, I wouldn't say it's clean, but it was action-packed. And Henry still not letting up on his teammate. He wants his teammate to know, going, look, I'm here, I'm quick, and if you want to win, you're going to have to try and get away from me.
Christian Horner hasn't really experienced Red Bull drivers really close since 2018 with Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen.
Biggest thing that Christian, I think one of his biggest regrets would be letting Daniel Ricciardo leave Red Bull to go to Renault, because don't get me wrong, it did sort of cripple Daniel Ricciardo's career a little bit, don't get me wrong, but Danny Rick had potential, and to this day I'll still say he's the world champion that's never ever been a world champion. He had so much potential at Red Bull, but Christian just favoured Max more.
Yeah, it's a shame how the sports work these days. As we see Sahilo versus Nathan once again towards turn 3. Is this a switch back from Sahilo? Can he get a better exit than the Ferrari? No, the Ferrari does have better exits then. That's the thing with turn 3, because if you have the outside line in towards turn 3, much better release out of the corner. It's better for traction, but if the inside line is so difficult, as Diddy gets himself a 3-second time penalty. But all respect for 15 drivers to stay on the track here as well. Nobody's crashed or spun. We did have one retirement, but that's due to a quit, I think. He just quit the pit lane, I think, speak on.
Definitely was a quit in pit. Hopefully we'll find out, and we'll be able to maybe talk about it next week, Jamie, obviously when we head to the next race. But Diddy's a tier 2 driver. He's racing with the big boys. I'll tell you what, he's doing well. To last in a race longer than Sweet Crown, to be fair, is an achievement in its own. The Sweet Crown, as we said earlier, is definitely one to watch out for. All the drivers now, Jamie, have also completed their mandatory pit stops, so I can no longer say provisionals. It is as it is now. We have got 7 laps to go, 8 laps to go, and it's going to be non-stop to the end.
Once again, Henry tried around the outside, but he's used the battery. Does he get past Bobby this time? Let's see towards turn 4, the side by side. Can Henry finally get past him? Bobby gives him a squeeze on the curb there as he's showing him the hard racing he expects him as well in towards IRT. As we head down towards turn 6, oh, it's so close. Millimetres between those two there. It's just so tight. But here comes Henry with a better exit down the inside in towards turn 7 and turn 8. Can he finally get Bompier as he scrubs away? Bompier just seems to have better traction. This is fantastic. But guess what? Guess who's also being brought back in this battle? Steve, 4 seconds away after pit stops is 1.1 and on better tyres too.
These two Red Bulls have been battling each other that hard. I think they seem to have forgotten that Sieb is sat there patiently waiting for him to be brought back into this battle. So while the Red Bull boys are trying to battle for P1, Sieb is going to sit there just biding his time, and he is on the prowl. Could he, at the very end, be sitting on the top spot if these two Red Bulls keep battling? Because eventually these two Red Bulls are going to have to sit there and go, right, we need to think about the team, we need to think about the constructors, we're both sitting P1, P2. It's maximum points, because I do believe one of them has the fastest lap as well. At some point, one of them is going to have to relent and go, right, we need to keep that Williams at bay.
They do. Red Bull need a 1-2, but how are they going to do it? And what's the order going to be? Is it Bompier, is it Henry, or is it Sieb? Is it a Red Bull 2-3? Let's find out. Or is one of those two going to spin out due to the contact they might make in the future? There is 6 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. Bonpierre has been leading throughout the whole race, but Henry and Sieb are hungry, especially Sieb in P3 is definitely hungry for the win and other things as well, as he's right the back of first and second place there. Can he catch after? Yes, he can, because he's right behind. But can he overtake first and second? It is quite difficult to do it in the rain, but let's see. He does have the fresher tyres, so therefore may have a slight advantage on first and second there. As we head out of turn number 1, you can see these guys oversteering, especially Henry. Massive wheel spin on the exit of turn 1, which might influence Steve to get closer and closer as we head down towards turn 3. Too far back to make any sort of move. Steve there just slowed the car down. I thought he was going to go into the back of him for 1 second, as Nathan versus Sahilu once again. Sahilu's back ahead for the time being, but Nathan might come back down the inside, but Sahilu should have a better launcher on the outside towards turn 3, which he does as they level peg out of the corner. Remember Sebastian Vettel versus Hamilton back in 2018, where Vettel overtook him down the inside in towards turn 3. As we go down towards turn 4, is Nathan going to go back up the yeah, it's
I think me and you both definitely know that Nathan does not look like Vettel, but I tell you what, he's giving off Vettel vibes at the moment against this Mercedes driver. It's a lovely battle to watch anywhere from P1 all the way down to P5.
Indeed it is then. So 4 laps, we're coming towards the dying stages of this Grand Prix. Henry there clips the curb, and there is a Haas who gets out of the way. We haven't really given much screen time, unfortunately, but it's been so busy. Flag. That's because of 3-4 slowing down our turn number 9 and turn 10. He's just slowing down so the leaders go. Maybe he holds a front row seat of this battle.
Possibly does, but I do believe that is the first blue flag of the session as well, though, Jimmy. To be fair to 3-4, like you said, he's been in Cyprus, he's jet lagged, and I tell you what, he's still here racing. Fair play to 3-4. He must be absolutely exhausted. I know I would be. Obviously, big congratulations to where it's due. 3-4 has been playing bowls in Cyprus, and I do believe he did top the tournament that he went in. So a massive well done to 3-4 for something that he does outside of the CRL community.
And he's also sunburnt as well, like a crisp. So
oh yeah, he's quite crispy.
Yeah, so he definitely needs to recover after that one. But look at Bonpierre, massive wiggle at turn 6 there, as Henry is finding a lot of time as well. The track is getting better and better. You can see him 5/10 up on his personal best, but it's not time, nowhere near time for the slick compound tyres into towards the end. As we see then Bonpierre squirm away towards turn 9 and turn 10. Henry is right at the back of it once again as we exit the final corner. We head on to lap 33, out of 36, and once again it is the 2 Red Bulls leading with Sieb in P3 hunted down, as the Jamie says, Legende for the win. Do you know what? It's quite weird to say my own name there, but yeah, Legende for the win in P9.
Speaking about yourself in the third person there, mate.
Yeah, I am. But nice to see you in the chat, Jamie. Obviously, you're a Division 2 driver, as we see both Red Bulls and Sieb get close together in turn 3.
I just also want to say as well, big well done to where it's due as well to Bosch. Bosch has gone from being, because obviously he came in on lap 1, he's now up in P7 and in the points. So huge credit to where it's due. But I tell you what, I'm going to maybe potentially lay a bit of commentator's curse here, Jamie. All it's going to take is for one of these 3 drivers at the very top to pick up that 3-second penalty, because these boys are battling hard. One false move and it could be that they maybe end up off the podium.
I did see Henry, though, alluding to your point, go off the track twice in one lap, so he might have a warning.
Henry is on his fine. I've been keeping an eye on it as well. I've noticed him go off twice. So if he goes off once more, there is a 3-second penalty heading his way. I do think, can Sieb make the move down into turn 1, or is he going to try it a bit later on? I think he's pulling off a bit back. This battle is spicy, Jamie. It's very spicy.
I want these guys to have their elbows out, because it's been about following Bonpierre throughout the whole race, but that's about to end now, because he's moving left and right as we head towards turn 3. Heck, here he is on the inside, in towards turn 3, he's out of control, he goes off the track, he makes the corner, but he goes off the track, and now Sieb is up into P2. That's a very late lunge from Henry there. This time, he tried the inside line, arrived out of control, and he almost went off the track as he, look at Sieb, late braking, he goes off the track himself, he's in the gravel! Oh my goodness me, as he fails to overtake Bonpierre. Bonpierre survives for another day. Sieb just outbroke himself there as he's down to P3.
You can hear a sigh of relief from the Red Bull garage from Helmut Marko. It was very nearly losing out on a 1-2. But I tell you what, if these boys keep battling as they do, I think it could end in tears for one of them.
Finally, we start to see some moves here, as we want to see, because these guys have been following each other in first, and second, and third in that formation for a very long time. But Henry, that's his first real proper dive bomb, but he's got 2 laps left to go. Where can he make the move? Can Bompia hold on? If he does hold on, Bompia, full respect and credit, because he's been under massive pressure throughout the whole race from his teammates and Sieb behind as well. As we exit turn 1, Sieb has the tyre advantage, but unfortunately the mistake in turn 3 cost him dearly. He is back down to P3 as there's a yellow flag for the RB driver who lets them go, but no move this time from Henry.
No, we've still got pretty much a lap and a half left to go, Jamie. He's got plenty of opportunities. But like I said earlier, at what point do you sit there and go, look, we need to really think about the team? While these boys are battling hard, and it's great, and I love to see the action, at some point you've got to sit there and go, look, there's 12 rounds in this tournament. We've really got to think of maybe winning both. Because from the display that we've seen today, if these boys play like this, week in, week out, could we have a Red Bull title battle on the hands? And is it Red Bull that's going to be winning the Constructors?
They've got 2 very strong drivers indeed, and if it's a Red Bull 1-2 here in Austria, then things are looking up, as we can see Aston Martin, who was going slowly on the track, but I think he's recovered and he gets going once again. It could have been Kalen, it is Kalen. He drops into P11. I think he's going slowly. Has he run out of fuel? Let's have a quick look. No, I don't think he...
No.
Has he got a puncture?
I think he's got a puncture.
That looks very weird the way he's driving. But back towards the top end of the field then, as we see, Dave gets a penalty. But Henry, can he make a move down in towards turn 3? Is it going to be on this time? No. It's all about turn 4. This is all about traction at the exit of turn 3. Can Henry get close enough to overtake Bompia down towards turn 4? The questions will be answered in a few seconds' time as we head down towards the braking zone for the final time. But Henry does not go for the move. He's too far backwards, I think. And that's Bompia possibly secured for the win. No, I think Caden's run out of fuel. Yeah, he has.
Is he out of fuel? Is he gone? I think he's gone. Meanwhile, what's going on? Slight contact, or I say slight contact, a bit of contact between Sieb and Henry. They are pushing hard, and I think that's enough to let Bompierre go. Bompierre is coming around the line of 2 corners now as we speak, Jamie, but it's going to be action-packed all the way to the very end.
ILT Bompia, who's been searching for his first win for a long time, and he's finally done it here in season 12. It is only round 1, but ILT Bompia, Thomas Nijmegen, gets his first win in CRL. It's been a long time coming, and finally he has done it as Henry finishes in P2. Sieb rounds off the podium in P3. Sahilo in 4th ahead of Nathan JB. Then Dave in 6th ahead of Bosch Evans and Kyle as well. Those two have been close together in the last few laps of this Grand Prix. Legende in 9th ahead of Dan in 10th as 4-star, 11th ahead of Hobbsy, and Kalen unfortunately runs out of fuel as Freefall also runs out of fuel too. So quite a few people run out of fuel here, as they probably predicted a safety car in these treacherous conditions. But well done to Bompia. He finally gets his first win. And Ferg is in the chat supporting Bompia. Ferg is a champion of CRL, Season 5's champion, of course. Let's not ever forget him. He is an absolute member of the league. Yeah, indeed.
Season that I joined.
An absolute legend and an absolute member as well in the chat. He will always be remembered for Season 5 after Double getting 2 championships in a row. Then Ferg managed to defeat him in Season 5 and get his first championship as well. So hopefully we see Ferg returning back, because he is a regular contender. He does pop in now and then, as it's a Rebel 1-2. And that was a fantastic race for Bompierre, well controlled, and despite being under massive pressure from the last few laps from the guys behind, he kept calm, kept composed, he let the other guys behind make the mistakes.
Yeah, good way to start the season for Red Bull, especially in Tier 1. That 1-2 is going to help them in the Constructors. Obviously, the Constructors is combined from both tiers in CRL, as it has been for a while now, Jamie, but that will still be a good amount of points. I'm just trying to see where the Red Bull drivers live in Tier 2, while you do the where they finished.
So Bompierre then wins for the first time in CRL ahead of Henry. Sieb in P3 in the Williams. He spent most of the time behind both Red Bulls. Sahilo in P4 ahead of Nathan. and Bosch Evans in 6th, with Den Dave round off the top 7. Kyle in P8 on his return back. Legende in P9. Dan in P10 on his debut 4-star. And Hobsley, the 2 kick-sarpers in 11th and 12th. Kalen in P30 ahead of Diddy, 3, 4, 15th. And Sweet Crown is our only DNF due to the pit quitted. But despite the difficult conditions as well, we only had 1 retirement and nobody crashed and nobody caused contact, which is fantastic for the first race of the season. Hopefully we keep this up for the remainder of the season.
If it's like this throughout the entirety of season 12, we have got a decent season ahead of us, Jamie, and I can't wait. Next week, obviously, we're going to take this over to Azerbaijan, where we've got the famous I Am Stupid corner at Castle Corner.
Oh yes, indeed, with Charles Leclerc and Robbie Kubica crashed in the Castle session in 2019, and obviously I think both Ferraris won the Mini Compound tyres, and Leclerc hit the wall in the Castle session and called himself stupid. But we'll see what happens there. But Rob, our first time commentating Division 1, been an absolute pleasure, mate. I think we worked really well together.
Yeah, I think we gelled really, really well. Obviously, as the season goes on, it'll get a lot better as we get used to each other's commentary styles. And you know what, Jamie? I'm looking forward to this season ahead, not only for the drivers, but obviously for the commentary that we're going to have going ahead too.
Me too, mate. Me too. Thank you very much. As we move on to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, a few seasons ago, it was ILT Sieb who won there, defending against Walter. So Sieb has got some history around that track. So let's see if Sieb could do it. But for now, goodbye. Enjoy the Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend. That is on, and we'll see what happens there. But we move on to round 2 in Azerbaijan. See you all later. Goodbye for now.
And don't forget, Monday we're back with the Tier 2 boys, where CRL 3-4 will be commentating once again.
Can't wait to see more comms.